So then I guess before we get into the film recommendation portion, the other question I always ask every guest when they come on the show is, what is your favorite movie? Or movies, if you can't narrow it down.
Yeah, my favorite two movies of all time, and they are so silly, is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, uh, and Melvin Goes for Dinner. Melvin Goes for Dinner is a very small independent feature rather, that I saw. It had one VHS at Blockbuster available to rent, and it started off as a play, and then so made into a movie. It randomly stars Flo from the Progressive commercials. She's a she's an amazing actress. I feel like you might be able to get it on Amazon, but Melvin Goes to Dinner. It's very dialogue heavy. Just be warned. I like dialogue heavy movies. So that's definitely up there for sure as far as wit and dialogue goes. And then Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, as an art person, as a person who needs to be visually stimulated, who can get very distracted from the shiny thing over here. Uh, I'm I'm obsessed with that movie. I'm a musical theater nerd, so not that obviously they did make a musical out of Willy Wonka, but as a movie, it's a musical, which I love. It's it's fanciful. It's amazing. I identify very much with Mikey TV. So yeah, nothing really gets better than those two for me. And if I had to pick out like a straight comedy, I'm a very silly person. I like Airplane. The minute
Mm.
Airplane went onto Netflix, I you would have thought that the brand new, the brand new War of the Worlds was coming out or something. I ran to watch it on Netflix, and watching it with some roommates who are a lot younger than me were like, they didn't even get half the jokes because they never had a, I lived in a pre 9/11 world where,
Right.
there were people giving out pamphlets at the airplane and people were smoking on the airplane. And like none of that happens anymore. And it's like, well, how do these people even get to them? And, you know, uh, it's a hysterical movie, and I really appreciate the writers, mostly because they held on to that script. They wanted that specific cast, and they wanted serious actors to play comedy roles, and they were auctioning that script for a while, and everyone wanted to put in comedy actors like that were very well known at the time, and they held out, and I can't imagine being offered large amounts of money to have my script made and saying no and holding out. So although Airplane is ridiculously simple, I also have uh, amazing respect for the creators and taking that comedy to another level. And honestly, excluding like one or two scenes that were definitely made to be problematic and to poke fun of that, it really does hold up after the 30 years it's been out, at least. Yeah, big fan of Airplane as well.
Definitely a great selection. But I do have to ask though, with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory being one of your favorite movies, where do you stand on the Johnny Depp remake with Tim Burton?
Oh, I mean, Johnny Depp needs to be canceled on a number of different levels, and I absolutely hated the movie. As an art department person, every scene that was overly CGI'd pissed me off. I was like, if they could do it in the '70s and make it, you can. It costs the same amount of money to make something. You have the studio space. You're not doing Game of Thrones where you need to have millions of people. You could have hired an art department person to build those sets. And as a lover of the musical Hair, when Johnny Depp first comes out as Willy Wonka, he does a line from Hair, and it's like, "Let the sunshine in," and it just pissed me off. I was like, the movie was written prior to that show, and it was, and I'm like, what am I watching? Like, there was no reason to change that dialogue. If you're not going to change the fact that like he comes out pretending to be handicapped and or differently abled, and he comes out and he's struggling, and you're still gonna have him do the stupid somersault gimmick that is done in the first one. Why would you change the opening line for
Mm-hmm.
that? It genuinely pissed me off as a film. I thought I thought the Oompa Loompas was cheesy. You could have talk about oppressed and underserved communities. You could have hired hundreds of little people.
Yeah.
And instead, you hired one and did mirror effects in post production.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Like, talk about screwing an entire group of people over. Jesus.
And arguably probably took even more work to like replicate and like paint things out, and like it just
100%. Like, and like it's one thing if the person in that role was, listen, he's relatively famous, but he's not a household name. It's not like anyone would be like, oh, I don't know why they hired those other 999 little people when they could have just used him. Like, no one was thinking that. It's like, why wouldn't you give an oppressed group of people the opportunity to work? Especially when it's right there. It's written in front of you. It's all the work is done. You didn't even have to create a new role. The work is done.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to me, it was kind of like, yeah, it was an affront to the original. But I mean, I'm indifferent. I have big opinions. I don't know if you can tell. I have very big opinions.
And that's the kind of thing that we like on this show.